Hey guys, hope you're all having a killer day today. Listen, some news dropped yesterday and I had to make a video about it because this totally came out of left field. I, in a million years, would have not expected this move by GameStop. My brain is honestly running at a million miles an hour today, so bear with me. So apparently, GameStop's board of directors approved a new investment policy this week that allows the company to invest in stocks instead of just safer assets like treasury bonds. Control of these securities will be handled by Ryan Cohen, apparently. I have seen a lot of people saying this is wrong, but just keep in mind that Berkshire Hathaway's legendary CEO himself, Warren Buffett, not only oversees the company's operations, right? He also manages their portfolio, which accounts for something around the ballpark of like $350 billion. I mean, Warren Buffett built the company's assets base to over $1 trillion since the 1960s. So Ryan Cohen, as far as I know, is a pretty savvy portfolio manager as well. So, I mean, I'm not raising any red flags about this. For those of you that might not know, Ryan Cohen co-founded and ran Chewy, which sold in 2017 for like $3.4 billion. He then used that money, the entirety of the funds he collected, and invested them into Apple and Wells Fargo for the most part, which honestly they've performed pretty well. And then in 2020 he also invested in GameStop, which helped fuel that rally that we saw early in 2021. This is pretty big news, people, because it completely changes the game. With over $900 million that are allowed to be used for investments in GameStop, the company could certainly become a much more diversified company going forward. And I guess that's what I wanted to talk about today. What's the outlook going to be like for GameStop if Ryan Cohen is going to be using the capital that they have just pretty much laying around? They haven't used that $1.2 billion that they have on cash. They haven't touched that, right? They've had it for like years now, and they've honestly, like, most of the concentration for the company has been in reducing the amount of money that goes into operations. They've significantly reduced the cost of operating. Then sales have just sort of like remained flat, so they haven't really had a need to use that money, that treasure trove of cash, towards anything. And now that we know that they plan on investing that money, what does that mean for GameStop? And that's what we're going to be discussing today. Now, fellas, before we start, I know I sound like a broken recorder, and that's for a reason. I want you guys to join my Discord. And the reason for that is we honestly have the best tailored experience for day trading groups out there. Whether you're brand new to day trading or you're really experienced with a couple years behind you, it doesn't matter. The amount of content that we have, and that goes from like day trading signals to like weekly swings. We do penny stocks as well, not as much because penny stocks are very liable for like being pumped and dumped. But when the opportunity arises, we also let you guys know of what's out there in the market as far as like opportunities go. And then we also have a big section for long-term investments. If you're looking for passive income and you're trying to find a suitable investment that yields stability and cash dividends, or you're looking for something less risky with more safe, aggressive growth potential, we have that covered. It isn't just a day trading server, it's for everyone that has money in the market. So if you guys want something that has a really good proven track record, and we keep a daily poll of where everyone at the end of the day says if they made money on the alerts and the signals, we keep that every day, so you can actually look at the performance for the year, the month, the week. If you want to see what people are saying, that's just not me, come join and see for yourself. Honestly, it's free for everyone. It doesn't get better than this, so come check us out. So back to GameStop. So like I said, GameStop is going to be allowed to use the money that they have, about $900 million. They're going to be allowed to invest that money in the stock market or like any other, I guess, securities that they might want to buy. and we were going to talk about, the risks and, opportunities, potential that this has to grow the valuation of the company itself, right? So like the biggest thing that would change things significantly would be GameStop using this money to buy back some of its own shares. I do understand that some analysts believe that, this is a bad decision, and rather than just calling anyone that thinks differently than us a shill, let's just assess their points one by one. That way we're fair to everyone. So like right now, some analysts, based on what I've read, right, some analysts believe that they believe this is the way that GameStop is signaling danger. Their argument pretty much lies around the assumption that the company's decision to invest in equities other than its own is alarming, because it implies that GameStop's management believes it will achieve better returns by buying equities aside from its own. Now, I believe his argument does hold some credit, some merit, in the sense that GameStop has indeed struggled to pivot its business to other areas and find great success, right? So we were talking about that in my last video, where when we went through the earnings from GameStop, it performed really well in terms of like, reducing the amount of money for operations and like increasing the amount of money that they have under cash. But again, sales continues to be like the biggest problem, the biggest question mark going forward. Why are they not, experiencing success in finding new ways to like increase the amount of revenue that they handle? And we know that their crypto wallet failed to materialize as it launched right after the market started experiencing a bearish sentiment in the wake of 2022. On top of that, we know that GameStop has been sitting on a pile of cash for a while now, and they haven't really been using it at all. That's not a bad thing, to be honest, don't get me wrong, but it does speak to me personally that the company isn't confident of where it wants to go. That's sort of like how I perceive them when they have had so much money for years now and they haven't touched it. Again, to me, it appears that they have been just focusing most of their efforts in, increasing efficiency to reduce the operational cost of their own business, right? Which is, it's welcome for me. Like, I'm not complaining about that. I mean, just on their last earnings report, GameStop had a net loss of $3.1 million for the third quarter, as opposed to the last year's third quarter, which came out at, I believe, like $95 million. That's a huge improvement on that. These numbers are absolutely insane, and they give credence to the idea that GameStop's business model is, has been allowed to consolidate. We know the company has been struggling for years and still continues to struggle with sales overall, but the efficiency of the company is turning back around, and that's amazing. But now Ryan Cohen just, he's making this big move that was totally unexpected. So what could this mean for the company then? It's honestly impossible to say. From what I've seen, Ryan Cohen is the type of guy that, he loves to put a lot of his own money. He loves to put a lot of his own money into like a small number of investments that he truly believes in. Like I said earlier, he put like almost all the money that he got from selling Chewy into what was it, like Wells Fargo and Apple, which performed pretty good. But as you see, it's not really a diversified investment. He pretty much put the whole bulk of it into that. So that's a little bit concerning going forward, because like, GameStop, he's only allowed to have like $900 million in investments. So like, what if the investments don't perform well? If GameStop can find success doing this, however, it could here's the thing, it could make it a lot easier for them to experiment and test business ideas that might currently be deemed too risky. Like, for example, one that I pointed out in a couple of videos in the past is like GameStop venturing into mobile game development. The cost of mobile game development is pretty low, and if they can find success, the amount of revenue that they can pull in is in the hundreds of millions of dollars a year. This change in business strategy would be scary for any retailer, right? And I'm not saying they necessarily have to do this, but if they find success investing in other companies, that add a lot of profits, a lot more cash to the company, can make the transition a lot less scary going forward. So that's how I'm sort of viewing this 4D chess move by Ryan Cohen and GameStop. Honestly, I think the move is to produce more cash, to experiment and grow the company, given that it's just sitting on a pile of cash that they're kind of scared about, reinvesting in the company as it is right now. I think they're not really that confident on their ability to increase the amount of e-commerce that they see. So instead, they decided to just hold on to the cash and just wait it out and just come up with an idea later on. And I think this is it. I think they're just gonna reinvest the money in other companies, pump the valuation of GameStop, raise the amount of cash that they have sitting on hand, and then just with that profit that they get, they're gonna be able to experiment and have a lot more flexibility testing out new potential opportunities out there for to grow the business, whether that be actual game development itself or they transition into something I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. From what I've seen on Supersong and other websites, I've seen some ideas saying things like, hey, what if they actually start buying out companies that produce accessories for headsets or something like that for gamers, and so they buy them out, and then the companies are sort of morphed into GameStop's own company, and then that traffic, that business traffic that everyone that they enjoy, that GameStop's gonna be the one getting it, right? So let's say they were to buy the Turtle Beach headsets, right, as an example. GameStop would receive all that revenue coming in instead of those other companies, and that's, I guess, what the angle of GameStop could be, according to the people on the internet, because everyone's sort of trying to figure this out as well. The news just came out and we haven't heard from Ryan Cohen himself, so it's kind of hard to judge what the company intends to do. But me personally, and this is this is the craziest opinion that you're gonna hear out there, and just bear with me. This is just me laying it out of the park, okay? What if GameStop is slowly transforming itself into a financial institution, right? What if GameStop, being the company that was poised to be destroyed by hedge funds, suddenly becomes one itself, and slowly transition into operating in the markets and becoming a participant? That would be absolutely insane. That would be a crazy 5D chess move that nobody could have foreseen, but honestly, it would kind of make sense in a way. Ryan Cohen's track record is regarded by any analyst as kind of being spotty, because even though he had a couple wins in GameStop, Apple, and Wells Fargo, like I said before, he also had some pretty big failures with Bed Bath and Beyond. He invested in I think, what was it, Alibaba, in Nordstrom as well. I know he invested in something in China, and they all really underperformed. So he's sort of mixed in that sense. But this is where I bring the question to you guys. What do you guys think about GameStop's overall plan? Do you think this is a good idea, or do you think this is another symptom of the company that has sort of lost its own edge? All opinions are welcome. Just let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And lastly, come check out my Discord. Fellas, it's not me exaggerating when I tell you guys that, we have one of the most consistent day trading groups out there. The results from the people who take the poll every day says that it's not just me just making up BS. Come check out these alerts. They're open for everyone. Just click the Discord link. Come say hi. Hope you'll have a great rest of your day, and see you guys next week. Peace.